Hey everybody, and welcome to Robin's house. I just wanted to do a quick and dirty tutorial for the card makers mostly in how to do this without having the whole walkthrough to go through. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take your stitched square or stitched rectangle as appropriate and use that middle size to cut yourself a base and a frame. So the base has a little stitching around the edges, and then the frame has a little stitching in the middle. So those are your two basic pieces for your card. And then of course you also have the acetate and your pull piece. So just like in the scrap project, the first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and attach that frame to the back side of your stitched frame. So just give a little bit of the tiniest bit of liquid glass on that frame. It should bead up into almost resembling a stitched project itself. Otherwise you put too much. And then I should have cut these so that you have a little bit of white space all the way around your frame so you don't end up having to trim your acetate. Turn it over, make sure you don't have any liquid glass leaking through on the front side. This one looks fine. Okay, now we're ready to stamp. So this one I'll take my dragonfly and I'm gonna set him within this frame space. Then I will use my block to pick it up. And what I'm going to do is use my block to get the top and the left-hand sides against the frame so that I have a reference when I put it on my paper. I'm going to have that left-hand side. There we go. So now we have the basics of a dragonfly within the box. Now it's time, so as you're doing your card, whichever card you're doing, you're going to want to decide which side to put the slider on. So since this time I'm going to put the slider on this way, I'm just going to put a little placeholder here so that I don't accidentally close my box or put it on the wrong side. I'm using the thin thickness of foam tape, and it comes with a skinny and a fat style. So I use the skinny style on the base, the single side of my card, and I will use this fat side size to form the two other sides of the box, because I'm just going to cut this, oops, not with these scissors, or it will never work. With my non-stick scissors, I can cut up the side. Determine which side is the straight side. Looks like this one might be the straight side. Okay, now I make sure that my box functions. Great. Make sure that my image is okay. Great. So now I can add my tab. So the easiest way is to just cut your tab to the very edge of the the very edge of the paper, how much is left will allow you to have more room. So you get to choose between four tabs on this one, and I've chosen the little bump. So I'm just gonna, as close as I can to the edge, and I've lost my tape, so I'm just gonna change my, and I'm gonna put this one to the top. If you have trouble with your thin cut staying where you want it to, tack it down with some washi tape, or even some regular tape would be fine too. Now we have our tab. We have our tab, and on this one I just said slide, simple and sweet. There we go. So now I'm going to take this, and I still got my box upside down, and I'm going to place this tab where it should go, so it's lined up and you don't see any of the tab piece, just the bubble. And then I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to score this back side so that I know where to put the glue. I'm just going to add glue within that score line. A bit much there. And then I'll go ahead and drop the tab right back in place, and then move it so that it's where I want it to be. When I turn it over, I will have lovely working slidey tab for mine. Now the next parts are a little bit up to you. So you can see in the card that we're basing this on, I have just taken this box and put it directly down onto this patterned paper. So when you slide it out, you see patterned paper. But what if that's not what I wanted? What if I wanted to put it on a different patterned paper? So that even though it had this blue border, what if I then put this down with on the back and then a different paper came popping out? So in that case, I would want to put the different paper on this back side and then put it down. Or if I wanted it to be a yellow paper, so that when I pulled this out, there was yellow. There could even be a little message in there, a hidden message. So there's a lot of options of what you can do behind this slidey. And then there's another thing that you can do. On this card, for example, I created a stopper so that you couldn't take it fully out. This one you can. This one you can take your dragonfly out and then you have to feed it back in. What if you don't want that? What if you want it to have a stopper? So we've been using this stopper mechanism on many other projects. Just put a layer or two of cardstock on the back side of your image, and then put a layer or two on the top side of the under piece. Now this one has a sandwich, as if I had built my box, attached a piece to that. This is the easiest way to add a stopper, because if you're doing it just on this one, finding the appropriate place to put that stopper when it's just sitting on the card will be more difficult. not impossible, but it's just more difficult. So it's easiest if you build a backing and have a self-sustained little box in order to build that stopper in there. But you can see you can still get it in and out, but for the most part, it will stop your card when you're going. So those are some quick little tips to get you started on the cards, and I'll have the walkthrough in a jiffy. So thanks for watching. Happy